Welcome to another Street Epistemology College show. I'm Reid here from Cordial Curiosity, and I'm also with Dali from Juggling Lessons. What's up?
Hey. Oh, life is fun. Life is good today.
Yeah, did you just get more bright? You seem really...
Yeah, my camera, something if I move off axis, it adjusts or some other thing, and I haven't figured out how to tell it to just...
Oh, now you're dark again.
Yeah, and trust me, this is not gaslighting. My lights are not actually changing. It's the camera adjusting.
Okay. Right. And the shirts are staying the same color as well, unlike the dress.
Yeah, like the dress. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so today we are taking your calls, your questions, comments about SE, or claims to practice SE with. You can bring a claim, and we can question you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put in that link, obviously,
in
the chat.
Yes, I just posted the link.
Yeah.
I'm not signed on to YouTube appropriately to be able to pin it, but otherwise it's posted.
I shall pin it.
Thank you. You have the power.
I do.
We were going to have a ringer tonight. I was being strung along. But my ringer is an astronomer. Need I say more? I mean,
right,
is not everybody watching James Webb with drool hanging off their beard?
The picture. And this one.
What am I looking at?
I'm going to share it in a moment.
Thank you.
Chrome tab. This one?
Yes. That is my current desktop right now. All that lovely gravitational lensing.
Yes, all the red galaxies are super far away.
That's the general rule. Hello, Rosemary.
And moving far away. Hey, Rosemary. Moving away from us.
Yeah, that's the why. That and the space expanding in the middle while the light travels.
Wow. Yeah, and the ones with like the spikes. These are stars in our own galaxy that we're just looking through. What are these ones? Are those also stars in our galaxy?
Probably, unless they happen to be extraordinarily bright galaxies, but I think that's less likely. I think it's that it's a tiny point, single star that makes all the lines go off so clearly. Some noob liked your formation of the abortion reverse Q&A. I haven't seen that one. No spoilers. I'm not allowed to watch it until we do the review.
Oh, thanks. What do you mean by formulation of? Do you mean like the format itself, or what do you mean? Physical, yeah. Because of the 6.
Sorry, I think that's a different...
The hexagon things.
Yeah. That part. But I think the formulation of the abortion reverse Q&A, you're probably talking about the spectrum game, where people stand on a Likert scale on 7 lines from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and then talk to each other across lines. That's probably what we're talking about. I think that's what you did in the reverse Q&A.
Right.
Or abortion reverse Q&A. That might be a different thing. I don't know.
Yes.
Definitely a cool CGI image. Sure. Oh, I'm totally not going to pay attention because this is spoilers for me. I'm going to just ignore it. I don't see that.
Yeah, I won't share the audio. But
The spoil. I'm overhyping the spoilers thing. It's not going to matter.
yeah, it's not that long either. But we're going to be reviewing this on my channel on Sunday at 1 o'clock Pacific with a bunch of people. I think you, William from Inspire Reflection, Lisa from Road to Reflection, Janosch, and Mark for being reasonable. Yeah, I want to try more with this setup, this format.
Cool. Yeah. It's good hard SE. I like it.
Yeah.
I've been reading McCraney's book and getting all excited about the overlaps between street epistemology and deep canvassing, where deep canvassing is distinct and it is definitely all about persuasion. It's definitely picking a topic and trying to push somebody's opinion in their direction on the topic. So very big distinction from SE, but otherwise it shares so many other tools with SE. It's kind of cool. It's interesting to see how many different things are like almost overlapping in the Venn diagram with SE.
Yeah.
So somebody want to call in? We would love to SE you on your claim, or you could SE us on some claim, or you could talk meta SE. Any of those things are welcome. We went tabling this weekend.
Right. That was fun.
That was very much fun. Anthony was in town, and it was a cool time to go tabling with the three of us. I enjoyed that much. I haven't been tabling in nearly a year. No, it was like last August. So yeah, that's nearly enough a year. And I was listening to the audio. I was so embarrassed. I was cringing. It was so bad. I was messaging, I was arguing, I was thising, I was thatting. It was I obviously way out of practice. Need to get my tone right, things like that. Now, I had a very generous interlocutor, so I got away with all of that.
Yeah, very nice.
We made some good progress. So I'll be releasing that after I do. I have to learn a video editor and things like that. So it'll be a couple weeks.
Yep, went out to Runyon Canyon, went to our usual spot. Worked out pretty well. Weather was great. Although I got a new whiteboard, I got her there set up, attached it to the table, tried to put on a confidence scale, and I figured out that the board was not magnetic, so most of my stuff would not work. Oh, well.
So I've been thinking about that whiteboard thing. You use the whiteboard a lot. It works well for you. I haven't seen anybody else use it, but David from Sound Epistemology uses stuff like that. I'm wondering about a whiteboard that is the table, which means the mics would be clamped on the side and use some sort of a gooseneck to come in. The camera would be clamped on the front side. Instead of being tripods on the table, leaving the whiteboard open and pens on the table and let you write right on the table. And with the 360 camera, it would be a really interesting view, because when you're looking at the whiteboard and the interlocutor, or the whiteboard and you, or all of you, it's going to be really fun and distorted and sweepy and weird. Anything to make it harder for you in post-production, that's good for me, right?
Yeah, you'd have to get something above it looking down.
I'm thinking the 360 camera would just, sit on the table up near eye level, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Although you'd want to sit like next to each other so you can both see it in the same orientation. You don't want to be writing something upside down for the other person.
Oh, I guess that's an issue for people.
Yeah.
I write upside down and backwards easily, so it doesn't mess with me. But maybe that's a skill that
you can do that.
Yeah. with both hands.
Wow.
I'm slower with my left, but I can do it.
Mm. Also, Matt and Diamond went out,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that was interesting.
I haven't seen that one yet. I really look forward to seeing. Matt's so good at this. I think this was his first out in public with a stranger, and so that might be interesting. But he's so good at SE.
Yeah, look at their setup, very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
I assume the camera that's getting the two shot of them, this might be a frame grab from Diamond's camera.
Okay.
And there's just another iPhone, I assume. And the audio wires going down, probably to connect to that camera.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Very simple. Wonder how the sound is for that.
I don't know. Depends on the wind.
Yeah. With lav mics, they're omnidirectional, which is an advantage, and also a disadvantage if there's a lot of side noise. They're not as selective.
Yeah. There was a new feature with Final Cut that allows you to use some kind of AI to filter out all the noise that's not a voice. And I've been using that recently, and it's amazing.
Ooh.
You can crank it really way up too, and sounds even better.
That might be enough.
Yeah.
That's what you get. You're using paid software. I'm trying to learn DaVinci Resolve. Okay. It's the good free software, apparently.
Yeah, we tried to figure out how to get it to work with 360 footage after we got back on Saturday, and I struggled.
Mm-hmm. I watched you be frustrated.
Yeah.
I was so glad it was you, not me. I used to have lots of patience for getting through that kind of thing, and I'm just not. In this decade, I'm not good at learning new software. It's slow for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So somebody call in, say hello to us, tell us things.
We are open.
I think we have enough people in the chat that we could throw up a poll on whether they like the show theme. We have a show theme that we've been offered. You think we should do a poll in the comments?
What do you mean?
Play it for them and see if they like it.
Oh, the actual theme. Okay, the music. Yeah.
Theme music, yes.
We want to poll the audience to see if we should go with it or not.
Well, just see how well they like it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, you type the poll. I'll play the music.
Okay, hang on. Go ahead.
It's the Street Epistemology call-in show. 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 Street Epistemology.
Oh, did it loop?
Oh, Street Epistemology.
Did you loop it, or did I do that? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, so now we have a poll. Feel free to vote. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's can you guess who made that theme song music? extra points for that in the chat if you figure out. Oh yeah, there you go. Spoiler.
Need a somewhat option. Okay.
Somewhat. Yeah, sorry about that. Eminem.
Gina thinks Willow did it.
Okay, all right. What?
Mark thinks that voting no is voting against children. Think of the children.
That makes sense. Well, if anyone else can make music out there, we would love to get other options. We can see what is best.
Okay, so some noob especially likes the non-vocal part. Cool.
Yeah.
What the line one time at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can work that out. Oh, what's this one?
This is just one of the generic StreamYard songs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because we keep that until we get a call in, someone to call in.
Well, I'm going to spell my hand and say I really extra love this song. If it's like outdated, well, so am I. So some of you 18 people should call in. Only one at a time.
Yeah, and if you're watching on Twitter or something, find us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the link. I should probably post the link below the Twitter in another thread.
Okay.
Here it is.
Howdy, Josh.
I also posted it on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
And we made a Discord event.
Mm.
Let us know if you came here from Reddit or Discord or Twitch. I'd be very surprised if it's Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Daniel, we were going to have a ringer tonight. I had an astronomer lined up to be our ringer caller at the first, and then a telescope. What? Yes, and then suddenly everybody was distracted from watching beautiful astronomy pictures to watch a strangely large fireball. Mm-hmm. I'm especially interested in the analysis and somebody getting all pointy about this and this little part of this galaxy might be this other galaxy right here. There's something with the gravitational lensing, and that tells us about the shape of the mass in.
Mark, feel free to come on and announce what's happening on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. Just vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's training to get in the stoic mood for SE.
Every once in a while, you have to put in a really irritating one for skin thickening practice.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Daniel's an astronomer as well. And Ophiuchus is a constellation. I don't recognize K2, but it's been a long time since I've astronomered much. I was young. I was part of the Los Angeles Astronomical Society. My father and I made our own telescope.
This one's called Feeding the Ducks.
Hello, Gina. Welcome.
Hey,
Hold up your fingers. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. How did it go on Saturday?
Hey, it was fun actually. I got 2 conversations.
Wow.
When you went out with Matt and Diamond?
Okay, just a second. I was getting feedback, and I had to close down YouTube on my other tab.
So you had 2 conversations when you went out with Matt and Diamond in Maryland, the East Coast,
and Virginia. On the Virginia side, of the Potomac River. It was a really nice day. I got 2 conversations out of it. The second one was actually bussed by someone who joined us, a guy named Reid, who I think joins in with Pine Creek Doug on his poker night.
Oh, Ray joined you?
Yes.
Oh,
he
wow.
was there. He didn't practice SE, but he was really cool and did some busking, kind of hung out.
Nice. Yeah, Ray's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's cool. He's
what did you talk
awesome.
about in your conversations?
The first one I had was with Ray himself. I think the claim was along the lines of, like, we need to not wait until the last minute to rely on technology to solve problems. And the second one was actually a repeat of a conversation I had last October with someone else. The claim was that people are inherently good.
Alrighty.
I didn't record either of them, but I mean, I'm still happy with how it went. I actually used a lot of the advice I gotten in the meantime from like the Discord discussions and from actually Daniel Ray here. So I know you're watching, Daniel, so thank you.
Cool.
And it was a fun day. It was exhausting. I was completely wiped out yesterday.
Yeah, takes a lot out of introverts, at least for me.
Yeah, for me too. It was a busy weekend all around for me, but I'm glad I did it.
Cool. Yeah, congrats.
Thanks.
Cool.
Anything else to share or to talk about?
I had a question on my mind about are there conversations you've had that you've not uploaded to YouTube?
Of them?
This one's mostly to you, Reid.
Yeah. Is there more to that question?
Just that, like, is it because the interlocutor, like, didn't give consent, or was there something about those conversations that you didn't think would work?
Recently, I've been just uploading the wide shot of everything I do to Cordial Curiosity clips, or I clipped it out on Twitch. But before that, I would just decide to pick whatever was best to edit, because it takes a while to edit. I can't do everything, or else I'd be editing all day, every day.
Sure. Like, how much editing do you typically put in? Like,
probably if it's a 30-minute talk, it'll take about 3 hours to edit it, at least.
well, less time and more effort. Like, how much? I guess what I'm wondering is, like, how much of the sausage is made? Like, what's the actual editing that goes into it? Like, putting the titles on, like putting the text on screen, like saying, just be kind in the comments because the IL might see this later. Those sort of things. How much or how little of that goes into it?
I probably spend about 20% of the time importing, transcoding, and syncing the multicam. But once I have it on the timeline, I can just watch it and switch angles pretty quickly. Once that's done, I've got a good rough version of it, and I have a template, so all the titles are still there. I just add any titles for when people say interesting things, and that takes about a few minutes. Then I do a quick color pass and a quick sound mix pass, and that's that.
So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I looked over his shoulder. It didn't look simple.
Well, for a filmmaker, I guess simple is relative.
I don't know his software. I've only used more primitive software, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm not going over with it with a fine-tooth comb. It's pretty bare bones stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much not chopped for time, right? Once you've chosen your endpoint, you're going to roll to the out point without taking any pieces out.
Yeah, I rarely take out chunks in the middle, unless it's just something really distracting and nothing related to the actual conversation.
I think on the way home, Diamond was talking about the editing he puts in, and he said, like, the hardest thing to do is to it's like blur out or pixelate the faces of people walking in the background.
Does he do that? He pixelates the people in the background? Oh my gosh.
Like blurs out faces.
Huh. I haven't noticed that. We have someone.
I'm not sure if he does that or if he quoted someone else is doing that.
Oh.
Diamond can correct me on this. I'm sorry if I'm getting what he said wrong.
Yeah, his latest abortion videos don't have it. I don't think I've seen anything like that.
Karachi, please turn on your camera and hold up 2 fingers for me.
Yeah, you can come on next.
Cool. Hey, Karachi. Okay, guys, I think that's it for me. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Later. Alrighty. Oh, yeah, we have someone in the queue, Karachi. Feel free to turn on your camera and let us know you're an actual human. Oh, don't have a webcam. Can I connect using a phone? Yes, you can. Just go to the same link on your phone. If you should have a camera on your phone, you can do that. Okay, he'll be right back. Yeah, that works. So it was on the trans sports from Diamond. If
few people made it a concern. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah, we had to.
Oh, with Peter Boghossian. Not
Yeah,
that.
Peter Boghossian's one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we decided to blur those people's faces.
Very pleasant.
Is this the same one? Yeah, feeding the ducks.
Feeding the ducks. Okay. At Echo Park, which is our local walking park, there's a couple that come along with a microphone and a boombox, karaoke, and that sort of thing. And the guy does quack noises and has a musical quacking performance that he does while he feeds the geese.
What? He has quack mode? What do you mean?
He simulates goose noises into his microphone with music and looping and makes goose music.
Los Angeles.
I love the place.
How is Echo Park? Is it still nice like it was?
It's yes, it's still way too nice, which is to say that it's all fenced off, and you have to go in through specific ways, and you're not allowed to be there after X times, whatever. And last year they had a bunch of homeless people set up in Echo Park, and it kind of an interesting, fun vibe.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And then the city council got all draconian on it. Apparently, there was like an election or something, so they needed to do something about it. So now Echo Park has fences all the way around it, restricted access, and you can still go, do the swan boats, little paddle boats, so you paddle around the lake. That still works. It's still a nice walking park. Seems ever so much less friendly, though, being all walled off, time restricted, and a sign with 40 things you're not allowed to do. It's got, don't do any of this. Death's code. Don't do any of this. Very concerned about such things. No naughtiness. There it is. There it is. This is from your drone, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's our usual setup.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful place. Many good times there. Missing God problem. I'm not missing one. So maybe I don't have a problem, but who knows? Ferns in the background. Yeah, I bet. It's a lot like public access, yes. YouTube is a bit like that now. It's kind of public access. Everybody. Let anybody in here. We don't walk away from the cameras, and the wide-angle cameras. I suppose somebody could do some of that. That might be more of an issue. So far, that hasn't been an issue that I'm aware of. Electoral college, yes. We've had electoral college claims, definitely. And almost everybody who brings up the electoral college wants it banished, wants it gotten rid of. I haven't heard anybody say, you know, that electoral college, that's the cool thing.
Oh, I think Karachi made it.
Good night, Daniel.
Yeah, 2 fingers, Karachi. Nice. Welcome.
Hi,
Howdy,
Reid. Hi, Dali. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you
Okay,
well.
awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to kick off Gina either. Hi, Gina.
You didn't.
If you're still watching. Face reveal too. Sorry if Regina hasn't seen me before. So regular on the Discord server. But
Nice.
question for you guys, not necessarily a SE question, kind of a meta related question. Was having a conversation yesterday with a gentleman who it was kind of different standards of proof around one belief, which was his kind of God belief that, well, it was a complex God belief. It involved like the first astronaut theory or ancient astronaut theory. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And he brought up a story of a friend who was a young lady that he knew, and she claimed that she owned a Lamborghini. And he said, you know, for a moment, I believed it. And then I kind of scrutinized the claim a little bit and was realizing that she actually didn't. And then I was trying to draw that comparison to his belief of the secret. So he believed in the power of positive thinking, actualizing in
Law of
reality.
attraction.
And yep, law of attraction, exactly right. And the God belief, and then there was aliens, and there was a bunch of other claims that were made. And I was kind of asking, well, you know, you dismissed the Lamborghini claim because, you know, there were things that didn't add up and you used certain evidence to suggest that. And then for the God claim and for the ancient astronaut claim, you have another series of evidence that you're accepting on face value. So ancient text was predominantly, but you're not applying the same level. And I guess my question in all of that, sorry for the long preamble, is how have you gone about getting people to see where they're applying a different standard of proof across 2 different claims?
Sounds like you did. It sounds like you brought up the contrast with them. And I'm used to people not getting it while I'm having the talk with them, but upon reflection. And sometimes they get it while I'm talking to them.
Yeah, this is what the outsider test is for a little bit. You try to use it with the person owning a Lamborghini compared to the ancient aliens claim. It's ideal when the outsider you're using the outsider test to find a claim that is in the same kind of category. And owning a Lamborghini is like a present day thing you can check with real life people. It's not a historical claim. So what would be a good outsider test historical claim to use for ancient aliens? Is it like, what other thing could it be? What is the claim that, what is the phenomenon he's trying to explain using ancient aliens?
Great question. And we were trying to get to the bottom of that a couple of times. But vaguely, there was connections that we didn't quite ascertain between ancient astronaut, Roswell, aliens, past, the past being more magical, I guess is the word. I'm sure you've encountered that concept before, like how ancient times were more mystical and, you know, this is faded over time. So that was kind of all wrapped up in it. He seemed fairly genuine in the belief. I don't think there was, he wasn't being, he did genuinely believe it. But yeah, I guess it was never made clear to me exactly how these things were connected. It's just that they're loosely kind of part of this broader he said the word conspiracy at one point. I don't think he believes these are conspiracies, but it's just that there's knowledge out there that's not fully understood at this point in time, and that kind of leads towards mystical God, and that was the best that we could extract.
King Arthur might be a good outsider test. It's well understood, could lead to theological implications if you include a holy grail to the question. And there's a mystical component about it. And I've seen books written about King Arthur and mystical things that want to purport the reality of it.
I remember reading a book called Supernatural by Clay Rutledge. He is a psychologist that focuses on meaning in life. And he makes the claim, I think, that extraterrestrial beliefs become more prevalent the more religion, like classical religion, goes down in society. And it seems to utilize the same need, or it meets the same need as some religions do, like like God watching over you. If there's an ancient alien species watching over humans, that will help meet that psychological need a little bit the same way as a religious belief does.
I'm seeing 2010, the Space Odyssey second. Something wonderful is going to happen.
Oh, really? I never seen that one.
Oh, sorry. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting discussion. I think he did shift a little because I kept bringing it back to his Lamborghini example, and so that was the other observation I had during that discussion or conversation. It was around how people often say that, oh no, we have faith to hold these God beliefs or the ancient astronaut beliefs, or I'm prepared to set aside because this is a special circumstance. But then when you really dig down to it, to other things that are more tangible right in front of them today, like, do you own a car or not? Suddenly they don't actually apply those tests to that. They have a lot more certainty, a lot more clarity on what is or is not. And he did seem to pause a little bit, but that was the kind of crux of the conversation at the end of it. So but it's interesting to hear that an outsider test, I think, probably would have been useful in hindsight.
I've noticed a lot of people in regards historical claims will provide a softer epistemology, because you wouldn't be able to go back to remeasure. You wouldn't, we just have the data we have. We could wish for different data. We would love to have videotape, but this was history and the standards are lower, and then they just hold to that. I see the reason in it, and I also see a lot of frankly daft stuff staying in because of those claims.
I think I saw Trey Latlow in the queue. If you want to come back on, Trey, we'd be glad to talk with you for a few minutes. But with Crunchy now, any other things to talk about, Crunchy?
One, I saw that you had the photo up of James Webb. Maybe it was an earlier podcast. I'm not sure. I was mismatching.
It was this one. Yeah,
it was this one.
It was this stream. Yep. Shower thought that I had that's completely untested claim, but I was just thinking in terms of that picture reminded me of the insignificance of, say, humans and our place within the universe, because they were saying that, hold the grain of sand up at arm's length, and that's how much of the sky this is, and it's just galaxies upon galaxies. And I just thought, how could a God ever really encompass everything? Like, I just think even a God would be too small for this type of a space. Like, it just goes on for just so much inside this picture, just one little speck, and it just makes me think how small humans' conception of a god even is. And so it just makes me think that it's even less likely that there's a being that's kind of in control of all of these things. But yeah, that was my shower thought. It'd be a claim I would have to test at some point, but I haven't really thought it through in detail.
I love me gravitational lensing. Oh,
Yeah.
talk about, okay, now let me think. How much mass is that? Oh!
It makes your head hurt. Yeah.
Billions of solar masses. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta think about that. And I usually think of myself as really good with large numbers, but damn.
Yeah, it's inconceivable. Inconceivable. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't even begin to, yeah. But amazing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely amazing. We were going to have a ringer tonight, but my ringer was an astronomer, so no, not today. Different day. The Flying Man, yes, it's another fun one. I used the Flying Man this weekend, and it went spectacularly. It was amazingly effective. Video in a few weeks.
I'm not familiar with what the Flying Man is. What's that?
Ooh. The Flying Man is something that Pine Creek Doug came up with. I think it's original to him. If it isn't, well, sorry if whoever I'm ripping it off from then. And it's a response to the minimal facts argument. The minimal facts might be 500 people saw, and there was the empty tomb, and there was this and that and the other. So you hear somebody's minimal facts, and it could be about anything. In this case, it's specifically about Jesus' resurrection, but it's adaptable. And so let's say the person has said, I believe it because, okay, I'll just give you the Flying Man and you'll see where the relationship is. I might say, my great some number of greats grandfather flew naked across the Grand Canyon, unaided. Flew. I have it written here on this piece of paper. Do you believe it? Now, most people, no, that's not nearly enough. What if I have 4 diaries? We don't know who wrote them. They're not signed, but we have 4 diaries that talk about my great grandfather flying across the Grand Canyon and great things that he did. People are, okay, I have another fellow who actually wrote down who he was that said 500 people saw the Flying Man and another 12 and then himself and so on. And you start taking in those pieces of evidence. And the idea is to lay them on one at a time, just to add one more and say, we don't have any more yet. This is just the thought experiment. Are you moved yet? For some people, they will eventually be moved in their belief, hypothetically, when they see a particular preponderance of evidence that they find useful. I remember Canadian Catholic took the Flying Man example, and when there was, it was not believe, and then finally switched over to believe on believing that the Flying Man existed changed people's life in a profound way. That was the piece of evidence that knocked him over to yes. It's like, okay. And in street epistemology, we're very interested in how people come to their beliefs. So the Flying Man is like an amazing tool for doing that because it is miraculous. You can make it fit whatever the set of claims are and take it out of something somebody grew up with. It's a novel thought, but it uses all the same criteria. That's the Flying Man. Did I miss anything important, Reid?
I don't think so. No.
So at the end of it, if I was the IL, I'm recognizing that the evidence base is not reliable. Is that the kind of takeaway with that? Or have I misunderstood?
Test for consistency of how much confidence you put in for particular claims with specific evidence
I
for
see.
similar
I see.
claims.
So it's that building up of the
Yes.
until you get to that final step. Okay.
Doug did this test with Gary Habermas, the fellow who champions the minimal facts argument. And he matched all of Gary's standard minimal facts. And then Gary said, but I don't know who this person is. Are they an ethical person? Which is not one of the original minimal facts.
Oh yeah.
And it would be an additional criteria. So how did Gary handle it? Gary said, you're disqualified by this new criteria that I haven't been including in my argument. So if anything, maybe Gary needs to add, and the person was ethical to their argument. Minimal facts may have grown by one. Something like that.
Right.
Gary was not happy in that moment. He was an unhappy camper. Yes, one day Gary will publish that survey data that he's been dangling in front of us for 15 or 20 years. Gary has a survey specifically that he has made of people he calls New Testament scholars, and something like 3/4 of the scholars qualify, and then 3/4 of them say that the minimal facts and the this and that. So I forget exactly what they qualified for. So that's one of the things we'd love to see the data on, and we haven't gotten to see it. This is for you, Karachi. Did your friend say if the ancient alien belief replaces belief in evolution, or did they land as the original life form on Earth that everything from? Is this a panspermia or?
So we did ask, did it broadly follow the storyline to Prometheus? So like a grand engineer, and that seemed to comport generally. However, did not talk about the topic of evolution. So yeah, that didn't come up. Wasn't sure, but the concept was, if I recall incorrectly, the ancient aliens had the ability to kind of create life, and that kickstarted it on Earth, like placed Adam and Eve here, and then that's the engineer, and then they are effectively gods somehow. Wasn't made quite clear how that worked, but yeah, that was the kind of the thrust of it, I think.
Jim Bob
it's a shame didn't get to evolution. That would have been a good question.
Yeah, but I really honor your lack of messaging and lack of inserting your own facts. That's something I fell on my face really bad while I was tabling this week. I was arguing and messaging and being just a naughty ass-eater. I was so naughty. Yes. Jim Bob says that atheists and naturalists will become the leading proponents of intelligent design in the next decade. I look forward to that paradigm shift. I wonder what we will learn that will bring us to believing intelligent design when we don't currently. I say we because I'm both an atheist and a naturalist, and so I'm just claiming that we tribal
leading proponents. Wow.
Well, yeah, if we change our minds, we will definitely be the ones in charge.
Yes.
Everybody will look to us because they know we are the epistemologists. I'm kidding. No, that's true.
I'm just thinking about what evidence could be presented to convince me that that is going to be the case, that it's an interesting kind of
Can
thought
you
experiment.
imagine what data you would need to change your mind to that?
Yep. Just having to think about it, because I think it's always good to review deeply held beliefs from another perspective of like, well, what would it take to shift you from the evolution isn't real, for example, just as a thought experiment. Yeah, I'd have to have a think about that. Don't see it happening myself, but if the evidence is presented, we have to change.
I mean, I'm going to go for the lowest hanging fruit. The intelligent designer shows up and then shows me a brand new thing that didn't evolve on this planet. Poof. See? Intelligent design. Oh. Ooh.
My first question would be, who designed him, though? Or that being, them?
Yeah, I see that as an issue. Imagine that the intelligent designer was an ancient astronaut, was an alien, fully within the natural realm. It just makes the ask a little easier for skeptic people. An alien shows up in a box that's 1 by 4 by 9 and says, "Hey, here's my example. Take it or leave it. Hey, here's my intelligent design machine. Make a life form. Show me how you can intelligently design," and lets me do it. That'd be very compelling. Very convincing. He'd probably show up in a TARDIS. Oh.
What is Jim Bob saying?
It would be attributing our system's design to alien. If alien engineering was adopted, I'd be adopted in at least one part of the chain. Who created them would be posed, of course. Sure, yeah. We'd ask, so, where did you come from? And I might expect the answer of, we haven't worked that out yet. We don't know.
Our systems design? Like our biological makeup design? What does he mean?
Maybe it's systems with an apostrophe. The design of our system. Maybe.
Okay.
So yeah, if we were made by an alien, I could definitely think of ways that I could be convinced that were true.
Yeah.
Joshua is asking why aliens are more probable. I don't rule out aliens. I generally like to just assume, for simplicity's sake, that the world is as it is, and then just daily remind myself to look for any data that I might be missing that would tell me that it's different than that. Let that guide me along. I want to be open to that.
Yeah.
I've seen about as much evidence for aliens as I've seen for a god. So
James Webb has increased your confidence in aliens. Fraser Cain would disagree with you.
Oh yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah, that was his claim. We had Fraser Cain on here a couple weeks back, and his claim, he had 80% confidence, was that there were no Kardashev 2 or 3 civilizations within our 18 billion light year bubble that we can observe.
That's interesting, because I read something, it was a Reddit post, so take this with a large grain of salt, that if it was a Kardashev 3 society, they would really have no need to interact with us.
Right.
Because they'd just be so advanced. So was that question posed at all? Or?
Yeah, it wasn't about them communicating. It was about them making evidence that we would be able to see, because they would have such a profound effect on their local space that it would be obvious to us. We'd be looking for something like, if you imagine a Dyson sphere, something that's wrapped around a star and collects all of its energy, it still thermodynamically has to get rid of the energy that it doesn't do work with. So you're looking for something that's the size of Betelgeuse and the temperature of a household oven. And that's visible, especially to James Webb.
Maybe we might find it.
We might find that. Now we have the tool. There's a discovery option there. That would be fascinating and would provide so much funding. Because suddenly you're like, what? If anybody out there knows Elon Musk, I would love for him to record for me the Ferrari or the Lamborghini test that you were making reference to, including the part about owning an interplanetary spacecraft. Because in the voice of Elon Musk, that actually starts to become a wait, you might.
Again, there are a lot of evidence to back it up.
Yeah. He might be able to prove to me that he does.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess that's to all of us. If I could SE with my country's leader and pick the topic, I guess my country's leader is Joe Biden. I don't think I could be too concerned about factual claims. It might be policy claims. I might talk to him about whether unions are good for the overall population. He seems very pro-union, and maybe unions. It's probably easy to make the case that unions are good for the people in the union, and I'd like to make the case that unions are good for the people not in the union. Maybe. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, did Mary Barra actually lead Biden?
Now that's just trolling. Karachi, do you have an opinion about? And you're not in the U.S., and so it's not Joe Biden.
I'm not. I'm in Australia, so we've just recently had a newly elected leader who's far more aligned with the left center of politics. His party's strongly aligned with unions, so I probably wouldn't go down that path in questioning, because I think he'd answer pretty emphatically that they do improve people's lives. I think I would ask something along the lines of, like, is it important to kind of get things done or get the right things across the line, and kind of a bit more of the political philosophy around, do we take the imperfect solution over the perfect solution, and do we just wear the consequences of this, and does that actually lead to a better society as a whole? That maybe I would ask something about that.
Hold up 3 fingers for me, Nathan. Thank you.
Nice.
Nathan, what would you like to add to our cacophony?
I'm not sure. You guys were asking people to call in earlier, and I talked to Reid the other night, and we had our first creators meeting or whatever. So I guess I'm trying to get more involved and whatever, and I figured I might as well just call in. I don't really know. I'm so bad at coming up with claims to have SE'd, but I don't know. I'm here, I guess. My kids are finally in bed. I would have called in earlier when you were desperate, but the 1-year-old is sick and the 4-year-old was falling asleep on the couch. So anyway, So I guess whatever you might have for me. Otherwise, I'll just ask you questions about microphones and cameras and stuff. But that's probably pretty boring for the audience. So.
If you have a claim to have SE, one of us could do that for a little bit, and then you can talk about cameras.
I guess
we don't have to do it if you don't want to.
No, I would like to. I don't know. I'm so into this that I've dropped my confidence so much on any claims. I feel like it's boring.
Well, someone wants to know your just background and how did you find the group?
Oh, sure. I found the group, gosh, years ago. I started watching your videos and Anthony's and Ty's mostly.
Yeah.
And I've listened to, I think, every episode of the Being Reasonable podcast from Mark.
Oh, wow.
So I really enjoy his stuff, and I like that he has a podcast because I can just listen to it in the car and all that. My background is I'm a high school science teacher.
Wow.
And I actually created a club for doing SE with high school students this past year. Hoping to continue that this year. So I've got that going, but I'd like to actually get out and, do the thing. But like I said earlier, I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. So, but I do have the summers off. So I got to just try to find the time. And so I'm trying to get started on that.
Yeah, you've got another month or so.
Yeah. I've got about a month. Yep.
All right.
School starts up, I think, like August 12th or something like that, probably. So.
Oh, geez. Yep.
But yeah. Time is tight, and it will be for many years. So I figure, there's no point waiting. So, any claims from your club where they moved your position? That's really good. That's a really good question, Lanessa. I could be saying that wrong. I didn't actually engage in that many of the conversations. I did if we had like odd numbers. It was like a club where we'd meet every few weeks, like during just like an activity period for like an hour. So I did engage with a few of them. Unfortunately, one of the times I did engage with a kid, they were like the same position as me on almost everything. So I didn't get that many opportunities to talk to them myself, which I actually preferred. As a public servant, you don't want to be, my job is teaching science. My job isn't teaching philosophy, I suppose. So I mostly just like kind of provide them the tools and let them have conversations on their own. But it was a lot of fun. And I'd never got any complaints from parents or anything, but it's totally optional. Kids were only there if they wanted to be there. So
how did you market it to the kids, Nathan? What did you say to get people interested into it?
Yeah, I kind of based it around the idea of having impossible conversations. So framing it in that sort of like, I don't remember the exact like club description that I wound up having, but it was something along the lines of, being able to talk about difficult topics, but without getting angry, like being able to have civil discussions, and like in our first couple club meetings, it was like, hey, whenever you get together at Thanksgiving, that one uncle that drives you crazy and people wind up yelling at each other, like, would you like to be able to talk about those things without screaming and feeling mad? So that was kind of the impetus for it. And we wound up having a pretty regular bunch that were there week to week or whatever. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm trying to get more involved in it.
I guess now is a good time to announce we're doing another one of those creator meetups on Friday, 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Email Mark. I forgot his email. We'll find it.
It's something creators chair, something.
Yeah. There's a Twitter thread about it.
Yeah. I guess you guys were talking about aliens or whatever. I guess that could be a claim that we discuss. I guess you guys are already talking about it a little bit. If you wanted to do that. I don't know. I'm not that interested in it, I guess. But there it is.
Yeah. Creator-committee at streetepistemologyinternational.org. Email that, and we might see you on Friday. If you're
It
interested.
was really beneficial if you are considering getting involved. We had one a couple weeks ago, and it was really beneficial. And I'm like, don't feel like you can't join in if you missed the first meeting. Basically, you get to ask questions and bounce ideas off of people who are experienced and can help kind of guide you along getting started. So I was actually playing around with my camera like for hours today, trying to figure out how to look at this mess. I got all kinds of.
Are you the person asking about Nikon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a DSLR, but I guess it's something I was reading about taxes in the European Union, and so they don't let you record videos longer than 20 minutes or something like that. I don't know. So
I think it's just a limitation of the, what is it?
The file
format of the drive and the
4 gigabytes or just single file that they can print.
That's part of it too, I think. Yeah,
like
they could do like the other, because there's another file formatting you can do. You can like format memory cards and hard drives the other way, not FAT32. So there's an option for it, but yeah. So
what's the model of that Nikon?
It's a Nikon D3300. So,
okay,
which is, I think, came out in 2014. So, but I figure if I do a reverse shot with like a cell phone in one and do the camera in the other, and if I have to reach over and start up another recording, that'll be okay. I'll probably can figure it out, fix it in post. But
Lanessa hears a lot of claims lately about the harm and good of social media that sound indoctrinated. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts since you work with teens.
I'm a little unsure in exactly what, like, harm or good of social media. Like, is it more beneficial or is it more detrimental to teens? On the whole, sound indoctrinated. That's the thing. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, Lanessa, but.
Lanessa, do you mean that the claims sound indoctrinated or that the social media participants sound indoctrinated? Yes, I've heard that claim a lot.
Yeah, I would say that there is probably some of that, and I don't know how much of it is social media so much as just the internet in general. Like, you know, with like radicalization and that sort of thing, I don't know that they're necessarily getting there through like the normal channels so much. As far as harm versus benefit, I think a lot more of it has to do with like depression and bullying and risks of suicide and like social contagion and that sort of thing. As far as teenagers go, I mean, there is some of that where kids will fall down a rabbit hole, although I see it I feel like the kind of like crazy radicalization that's happened isn't so much with young people as it is actually older people. And that could just be my own bias coming in, but I feel like generally younger people who have been around it are more wary of like the kind of like misinformation that's out there, whereas older people aren't, because they grew up with, you know, hey, this is the news and there's NBC and CBS and you know, and you got the newspaper and these are facts, and if it's printed, it's facts. So I don't know about like the like indoctrination thing with young people, because I think young people are just having grown up with it are a little bit more skeptical of the stuff they see on the internet. They've been trained to like be skeptical of online information, or at least they should have been in school. They know that they can't believe everything they read on the internet. So I think there is definitely harm, and some of it is definitely that kind of indoctrination, radicalization, and like polarization that we've had, which is a huge problem, which the internet contributes to. But as far as like the main harm that I see is more of that like if you think about, I don't know, depending on your age or whatever, but I can't even imagine trying to get through middle school and high school with everything being online and like the weird everything's, all the social cachet is in these social networks, whatever. So that's what I see as an educator. It's less the indoctrination and more of that kind of like self-esteem and that sort of stuff. That's the problem.
Joshua asks, and I don't know if you have enough experience to know this.
Probably not.
Easier or harder to teach now than they used to be?
Yeah, I've only been teaching like 7 years, so I don't really know.
Okay.
I think as long as you can connect with them, like it's probably the same.
Hmm.
You have a lot more tools, but you also have a lot more things you're competing with. Everybody's got a computer. For example, in our school district at least. So the attention spans are shorter, but at the same time you have so many different ways to reach the kids. Like I would have loved to been able to have somebody pull up all kinds of online tools and resources and show me crash course videos when I was in school. There's so many different ways to learn that we didn't have available to us, growing up in the past. But at the same time, there are more things competing for that attention.
For sure. We have Justin in the queue. Should we bring him on, or should we? What should we do?
Justin, hold up some number of fingers.
Or if you don't have a camera, post in the private chat the answer to 5 plus 7.
2 fingers. Okay,
that works.
Welcome, Justin.
Hello, I'm a human. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, someone said it would be interesting to SE about aliens, and I believe aliens exist, so I would subject myself.
Cool.
Who wants lead?
How about Nathan?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I've never done this online, but we'll give it a try. So Justin, you say that your claim is that you are confident that aliens do exist.
Yep, that's right.
Right. Okay. So first of all, what do you mean by aliens? Are you talking about just like anything alive, or are you talking about like intelligent aliens? Or
yeah, I would go with something that you or I would probably recognize as being intelligent life. Yeah.
Okay. So the confidence is that there is intelligent life out there in the universe somewhere, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I suppose first thing, how confident are you that this is true, that there is intelligent life out there? You can go scale 0 to 100 if you want. You can go 1 to 7, out of 10, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I'll go 6.5 out of 7.
6.5, so pretty confident, but leaving some room to be wrong, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So I suppose then, what do you think the main reason is that you believe this?
For the most part, I think that humans aren't special in the respect that we're alive and life on Earth as well. And from there, it's just the Drake equation. There's a lot of stuff out there. So, it's the evidence of life on Earth plus the reason that derives from the information we have about the size of the universe.
Okay. So I'm hearing a few different things. Let me just try to encapsulate and make sure I can kind of understand you. First of all, you said something like humans or life on Earth isn't special, right?
Yes.
That was kind of one thing. And we can get into that potentially. The other one was the Drake equation. So it's a mathematical, it's kind of like a predictive model if I'm understanding it correctly, right? If the universe is so big, and if the probability of life, arising is some number, right? And you plug in variables, right? And then I think the third thing you said was like the universe is really, really big, right? And that kind of goes into the Drake equation as well, right?
Yeah, right. So like there's
Okay.
one bit of observation, hey, we're out there. There's the Drake equation as a method of reasoning from that. And another bit of observation is just our understanding of the size of the universe.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so to me, it kind of sounds like two different things. Number one, you have the Drake equation. And then number two is this idea that like life on Earth isn't special. Do you think you could kind of elaborate a little bit by what you mean by special, or what it means for us to not be special?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't think there's a reason to expect that life on Earth is unique in the universe.
Like that it's the only life in the universe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, unique probably would have been a better word there. And yeah, in the sense of only, not different.
Okay. Yeah, because it could be, right, potentially
singular. Let's say
potentially life here could be very different from life elsewhere, but it might not be the only type. Does that make sense?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I'm picking up what you're putting down. If I'm not understanding you, then please correct me.
No, feel free. Treat me like I'm a babbling idiot if you need.
No, of course not. I'm probably the one who sounds more like an idiot. So don't worry about that. Okay, so it seems like the Drake equation, essentially, that's mostly built off of like scientific observation, right? Would you put that at like a higher level than this idea that humans are not unique? Like, which one of those do you think you weigh a little bit more in your mind?
I have less confidence that that humans are unique in the universe. I have more confidence in the Drake equation. So I think that they're both they work together, but okay. I don't think that I could. I'm more confident in the Drake equation. So I guess if I had to say which one would I rely on more, I would say that. In terms of which one is more important, I think they really do come together.
Okay.
I hope that's clear.
Gotcha. All right. Now, you obviously did leave some room to be wrong here, which I appreciate. I think that that's really healthy. So when looking at the Drake equation, let's just kind of look at that, because you kind of say that this is kind of like your primary reason if we had to identify one at this point. Now I'm not super familiar with it. Like I've seen videos on it or read about it some. So I don't know like all the different variables that go into it. But could you picture a scenario where we learn more in the future that could make you more confident or possibly less confident in the idea that there is intelligent life out there?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so like what sort of information could we learn maybe about the universe, or maybe about the origin of life that you could see that could make you more confident?
Well, I think the thing that would make me more confident is receiving something that looks to be a signal, right? Something that we wouldn't expect to occur naturally.
Okay.
That would bump me up pretty high. Obviously, actually encountering alien life would be the number one thing, but I think that's a bit of a cheat.
Yeah, I suppose that it kind of becomes very, very evident at that point.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could find some mental gymnastics to try to convince ourselves that it actually came from Earth originally or something. But yeah, generally speaking, those sorts of very evidentiary. Not really sure on the word on that. Those would certainly bump you up probably to 6.999. I would be right there with you, I think, if we actually got some sort of signal. So like a different type of evidence entirely, right? Something besides, theory and math and the kind of predictive model from the Drake equation, but like some sort of like really hard evidence would move you up.
Yeah, empirical evidence would be great. Yes.
Agreed. So then what sort of things could you foresee learning in the future that might bring you down, maybe to like 6.3, 6? Could you see yourself in the future becoming, I'm not quite as sure about intelligent life in the universe now? What sort of things can you imagine learning?
The thing that I can actually envision the most, even though I don't think I could point it out, is that there's some flaw in the reasoning behind more or less the Drake equation. And the Drake equation, I don't know it perfectly. That the guy who came up with it added in a whole bunch of variables of his own. But just the general structure of that argument, if there was some reason why that could be shown to be incorrect, like
Okay.
maybe there's some assumption baked in that's not being accounted for.
Right. Now I'm not super comfortable, super familiar with it, as I said before. Does the Drake equation specifically help predict intelligent life as opposed to life in general?
Yeah, but it's a really crude instrument. It would just add what's the probability that life is intelligent and derive that from a prediction of general life. I think that's actually that's basically how it functions from the get-go.
Do you think we have the knowledge or the data, the observation set that would allow us to predict that variable at this point?
No.
Okay. So, I'm just envisioning something where, and look, I'm speculating here, and maybe this is messaging, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to think do you see us as like a sample size of 1 with this planet, or?
Yes.
Okay. Because another way of looking at it could be a sample size of, human, dolphin, orangutan. I don't know how you kind of view like where the line is on intelligence, and do we view it as, hey, we've had one planet that's given rise to intelligent life, or is it, hey, if you have life, then you can actually have a lot of different intelligent life? Where are you with that, I guess? What do you kind of understand what I'm getting at there or not?
I think so. I for my conception of like the reason I believe aliens are out there, I don't think it's important to necessarily distinguish between like levels of intelligence on Earth, for example, and more just to acknowledge that Earth has produced intelligent life.
Right.
But I do think that we're not a sample size of 1 because we have, let's say, looked at other planets and not found life, I think, within our own solar system, or at least not found intelligent life, the type that I'm really talking about here. But we are a sample size of 1 in the way that we're the only place that we know it exists to be able to plug into this equation.
Okay. So it's almost kind of like we have a sample size of 8 or 15, or depending on how you count worlds that are in our solar system, or potentially other planets that we've been able to observe to a certain extent. And we got a 1 out of 8 or 1 out of 15 success rate or something like that. Is that kind of what you're, getting at there? I just want to make sure I'm kind of understand what you're saying there. Okay.
And basically, if we have a 1 out of 15 success rate, let's say we expand it out to we're the only ones in the galaxy. This is like a 1 out of a very large number.
Yes, a very large number.
Just within our galaxy, right? And why are we to expect that that's the right number versus 1 out of, everything in some bigger encapsulation of space versus a bigger encapsulation of space versus a bigger encapsulation of space? if there's no good reason to think that we're unique, then it has probably been replicated because of something approaching the infinite infinite typewriters kind
Okay.
of regression.
Yep. Understand that analogy. So you kind of came back to that whole unique thing. So maybe we should move away from the Drake equation a little bit, because it seems like we've kind of hashed that out and we realize, there might be some problems with it. A lot of it is approximations, but we can be reasonably confident that, if we're not unique, then the Drake equation, or at least some version of it, probably applies, and the universe is very, very, very large. So long as we're right about all those things, even if we're off by magnitudes of 10 or 100,000s, many magnitudes, probably there's still, the math would work out. There's still a large probability, right? So
that's right.
You once again brought up the whole idea of, if we're not unique, is there anything, what could you envision kind of like leading you toward thinking maybe we are unique? What sort of evidence might change your mind there?
So, I have a hard time being able to, this is kind of like the black swan question. How do we know there are no black swans? Well, we've only ever seen white swans, but there could be. And we can't look everywhere. It's just not a practical thing, right? That would satisfy me if we could, but I don't think we can.
Right.
In a practical sense, I don't know. I can think of some conceptual things like, I come to be convinced somehow that a creator God that created just humanity is real. If that were to happen, then I would be more persuaded that we are unique.
Okay, if there was some sort of good, strong evidence, once again, or at least evidence or an argument or something that would satisfy you, that gave you some reason to think, maybe life here or intelligent life on this planet wasn't the result of a natural process? Is that, or was maybe the result of some sort of very extremely rare process? Is that kind of?
I think the Drake equation is what puts me beyond very extremely rare, and
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Lack of any other potential cause is what makes me think not unique.
Yeah. So for, you have your reasons for thinking that, as far as you can tell, potentially, life and intelligent life from that life are the result of natural processes, right? Those natural processes could therefore be applied and could take place on other worlds. And then from that kind of starting background, we can utilize the Drake equation. So it kind of makes sense where we got this. Your first base information is, as far as I can tell, life arose naturally. We might not know exactly how, but it seems that way. And then given that assumption or given that knowledge, we can build upon that with the Drake equation, and that can kind of builds up that confidence. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yep. If you run this experiment enough times, and there is a chance, as long as there's a chance, then yeah.
Okay. So basically, it sounds like, let me just see if this makes sense. Something that could decrease your confidence in the idea of other intelligent life in the universe would be if you were convinced that life on this planet were the result of some very exceptional, very rare, potentially supernatural cause as opposed to a natural cause. Does that sound fair?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I want to make sure I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, you mixed up two concepts there that
kind
of threw me off. I think if there's a supernatural cause, its rarity goes out the window. The rareness of the event goes out the window.
Okay.
if there's a supernatural cause, then let's assume it was a deliberate actor, like in the case of a creator god, then the probability of life could more likely be zero, because we have no evidence of it naturally occurring any longer if humans are supernaturally created.
Okay.
But the argument from rarity alone, I think I would discard just due to the size of the universe.
That makes sense. Yeah. Unless that creator deity is predisposed to making life all over the place, right?
Yeah. I said something earlier that, he made us and just us for whatever reason. But yeah, of course.
If this creator deity were to communicate that with us or to you, or in some way that was satisfying. Okay.
Some way that would convince me. Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have any questions for me at this point?
I guess I'm tempted to ask the question that everyone seems to ask at the end of these. Where do you stand on this, good sir?
I think I'm very similar in position to you. I might be even higher than 6.5 actually. And pretty much for the same reasons, I believe. Once again, like similar to you, I'm familiar with the Drake equation. I've heard of it. But I also, have you heard of the Fermi paradox then as well? That I think that's a main reason maybe to be less confident, at least for real, like highly intelligent life.
I'm less concerned about that because of how time-bound the measurements of another intelligent life thing are, right?
Right.
That would need to be within recorded human history, basically. And
yeah, honestly, I'm not as concerned about like the level of intelligence or technology, except maybe how it might be predictive for our future, I suppose. So I'm extremely confident that there is other life out there, maybe 6.9 out of 7 even, and then probably a little bit lower for intelligent life, but once again, that's kind of an arbitrary distinction, I think. So where you draw the line at intelligence. So that's kind of where I'm at there. How do you feel? Do you feel any more or less confident in your position after kind of going through those reasons?
No, not particularly. I was pretty confident, so I wasn't expecting to really change on it. I got to say, I think you did a good job for somebody who holds the same belief at coming up with what I found were, relevant questions.
Yeah, it's always a little more challenging when you agree with the position, I think. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Good talk. Good to talk to you, Justin. Good to meet you.
Yeah, it was great to go through this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
That's great.
Very good. Very good. Oh, he's gone.
Dipped on out of here.
That
all right.
works.
Well, that was fun. Yeah, it's always trickier when you really agree, because it's hard to. Although maybe not in some ways, because you don't have that instinct to argue. And what do you guys think about that?
True.
I waffle between the strategy of try to be as neutral as I can and the other rapport building strategy of if I can agree, I tell you that I agree.
Okay.
And those are different. If I'm trying to be really neutral, that's almost like a giveaway that I'm trying to hold back to not tell you my position. And I need to do that because I either profoundly disagree or I agree so much that it's political or whatever. And then the other side, if rapport is suffering, I can, For me, the neutrality is so that I can get down to the epistemology. If somebody starts defending a position,
Mhm.
that will clamp the epistemology in place, and it will become defended, whether it makes any sense at all. And so it's a rapport balance, and I often get that rapport balance completely backwards and wrong.
That happens. So, yeah, I think there might be like kind of a middle ground. I think I did this once or twice where it's like you don't necessarily say, I agree with your position, but every chance that, as they're explaining things, if you like, hey, that makes sense, I understand you, like doing those kind of like little, giving them that kind of like, was that back channeling or whatever, right? Where you're kind of like letting them know, like, okay, I'm following,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your thought process seems good here.
Especially if it's like one of the sub reasons.
Mhm.
The minimal encouragers, if it's one of the sub reasons, especially if somebody's got like what I might think is daft, but one of their reasons is obviously true, I want to agree with that.
Right. Yeah.
Especially
I think that's
if likely to be in the defensive mode.
Yeah. Now, I think it is important where if somebody does ask you, like, hey, what is your take on this? To be honest, like kind of like what you said, you don't want to look like you're holding back, right? But if they don't ask, I don't feel like I necessarily want to like volunteer. Does that make sense? I don't know, but I know this is one of those things that gets discussed back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
And it probably depends on the relationship and have you had a conversation with this person
Yeah.
before? And I figure anybody who's calling into this show kind of knows kind of what we're doing here. Whereas somebody on the street, it's going to be different.
This is like classroom. This is like the Discord, where
right.
On average, we are already well familiar with SE. We understand a bit of the process. We've been exposed to several of them, at the least. And then out in the field, talking to somebody at the park, and they don't know how to spell epistemology, and they've never heard of this. It's very different. The defenses are way up and different, and we're not nearly so carefully neutral. Though maybe I should be. I'm a little embarrassed about my last tabling, so I'm processing that.
Yeah, well, forgive yourself. It's okay. Forgive and learn.
The results were good. I passed the rapport test at the end, and there was significant reflection in the middle. So at worst, I wasted our time.
I think it's good, even if you don't agree. But there is an advantage to if you like disagree with them. You know where the weaknesses is potentially with their reasons, so you can ask questions around that. You can ask questions to clarify potential non sequitur things happening in the argument. To ask clarifying questions like, does X necessarily mean Y? How does this relate to this? If they're non sequiturs, hopefully that becomes apparent. But if it's like about a soundness thing, about if the evidence is good enough to justify their confidence, it could be the one reason they have or many reasons. It's hard to say. How could you get into testability? How could we test this claim? Like with that one, it's the Drake equation. That's one way to test it using this statistical type of reasoning. What other ways could we test it? Maybe are these good tests? If it turned out they didn't actually exist, how could we have figured that out before we knew that? Maybe. Should we rely on these types of Drake equation stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tricky because generally, like at least for my own epistemology, like having scientific theories and having predictive models and using statistics and and then trying to appropriately measure out our confidence, which I feel like a 6.5 is really appropriate. So personally, so it's tough, but overall, I thought it was a nice conversation. So
yeah, it was good.
And Fraser said it too. Yeah, Fraser Kane is completely opposed to you on this one.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about reasons on both sides. I think Kevin what's his name? It's not that guy. I'll remember later. But one guy I follow on Twitter, he talks about grabby aliens. What's that? I don't even know what that argument's about.
Grabby aliens?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Robin Hanson. Yeah, I think.
Like the ones that abduct you? Like,
I don't even know what that argument's about. I've just
No.
heard that term around like the rationalist community.
Imperialist or conquesting, I think might be the other way to say it. Grabby in that they take over space and star systems. If there are grabby aliens, they will expand if they're successful.
yeah. If they've arisen near us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's once again, it comes back to that whole like the universe is so big. Like, you know.
Welcome to the future strip mine.
Right. The spice must flow.
I did a poll while y'all were talking for do aliens exist, and 30% say yes, 70% say not sure.
Okay.
That's fair.
Nobody says no.
Yeah, no one said no.
Interesting. Cool.
Seems reasonable. Yeah.
Indeed.
Some microbe out there, I'm very confident that there's, you know, some simple thing out there. But how smart it is, that's a different question. So, all right, well, this is fun, guys.
Thank you.
I don't know if you need me for anything else or if you're going to wrap it up. I suppose it's been almost 2 hours, right?
Yeah, another 15 minutes.
Wrapped up soon. If somebody wants to jump on in, you get to have all of our attention.
Yeah. I'll turn on the feeding the song.
Thank you.
Yeah, when you hear that, we're waiting for a caller.
Cool. So, thank you, Nathan. I'm wondering, is this a good environment for creators to get practice? I mean, this seems
I mean, I did.
more
So.
public facing than the Discord, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. The I feel like I'm too old for Discord.
Oh, okay.
I get overwhelmed when I get in there. So.
Too old for Discord. Yeah.
Don't know how to work it. Dang computers, man.
Yeah.
No, I do plan on poking around there a little bit more, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a time commitment kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For that, we're hoping that with the creators, we can, you know, we're trying to provide a whole bunch of different types of support, and one of those is like direct production support, like we're doing right here in this channel, like right now, is available to creators. We have like 7 people that are trained to be producers. So if you want to walk in and go, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got a phone, yeah, we can pick up the rest of it for you and put it up, and help prop it up behind, and whatever the other sort of resources are needed. We want to make that easy for people.
Did I spell committee right? I think I did.
Looks right.
I think so.
If you failed and then some, well, they're having to retype it, so they're gonna misspell it. Or
You're good.
so, future SEers, present SEers. Thank you, Linus. We love that.
Yeah, we didn't get a flat earther today. I was disappointed.
He was in it was Jim Bob.
Oh, that was Jim Bob? You talked to him last week? That was Jim Bob?
No, the fellow we talked to last week wasn't Jim Bob. That was
Some of that person.
yeah. I've got his face in my head, and I'm not getting the name, but yeah. And I'd love to talk with him some more. Yeah, I think Jim Bob is also. Yes, it was Jules. Thank you, Gina. Jules was he insisted he was not a flat earther, but he did have the claim of the Earth not being round, or that we were unreasonable in our assertion of the round. Oh, that he did claim the Earth was still, and that the sky was rotating. That was a big part of it.
It's maybe
that we had epistemologies that were inconsistent.
so. He's a geocentrist, at least.
Yes, yeah, geocentrist at least. There were several things, and I think I was arguing way too much. But the SE he was doing the questioning, so we were answering the questions directly, and because he didn't so much want to be questioned, so when we flip it around and give them the SE role, or the SE or the questioner role, or the interviewer role, maybe that's another way to say it, it's a little harder for us to not message.
Yeah, well, I think at that point you are the one bringing the message, so
yeah,
you're the one making the claim.
Yeah, it went well on the report side. I don't think we've made much progress. We managed to spend a lot of time not talking about his claim. Talking around.
Yeah.
Universal geocentrism. Okay, that's cool.
All right. Well, I already got my fill of interviewing somebody, so I'm going to go ahead and hop on out of here just in case my presence is scaring anybody else away from calling in. So thanks, guys. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Nathan. See you
and,
Friday.
Yep.
See you then.
I hope to, unless I got screaming kids or with poopy butts. So
yes. So usually we're doing this call-in show on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And on Saturday, 1 p.m. Pacific, and that's 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is 10 p.m. in Europe. And this last week, we didn't do a show because we were off tabling, doing other SE and that sort of thing, and managed to have all the rest of the producers also have places to be and things to do and somebody to pick up at the airport and everything else. So it was fine. Hopefully you'll all forgive us. And so that's the Saturday show and the Tuesday show. I think we're going to continue this for several more weeks. Not sure how long. We're trying to figure out when is your favorite time, when the audience wants us to be on the most, and we'll focus our time there. And maybe go down to once a week, or maybe if there's enough audience and audience participation and pom-poms and happiness that we would continue to do it twice a week. We'll find out. It's mostly up to you. You'll let us know.
Yep. And we're also going to get the review shows back going.
Mm-hmm. Our next review show is what day?
Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific.
Okay. But not on the channel.
My channel.
Perfect. Okay. For your curiosity. That'll be cool.
Yeah. If you want anything reviewed that you see happening, any new SE content, let us know. How can they let us know? There is an Asana form I made. If you go to the SE Twitter, I have that Asana form tweeted out every Monday. So maybe just scroll down and find that link. Add the title in the link and I'll get that.
Okay. Very good. Let's see. Oh, right.
What? A t-shirt?
Epistemology.com. That's how you can get a hold of us, I'm sure, too.
Right.
There's probably contact information there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff. So, wants Nathan to review the fantastic Vanessa SE. Is that Nathan that we had on tonight, Nathan Hartman, or abstract activist Nathan Ferguson? Or would that be Digital Gnosis? Get a bunch of Nathans.
Probably. I don't know. But Vanessa is the indigenous knowledge young woman Anthony talked to.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one. Epistemic justice. That one was really good.
That was heavy. That was the strongest rejection of the Tic Tac test I've ever actually seen somebody do.
Yeah. Went full postmodern on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Too many Nathans, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. So we are at 4 minutes till the 2 hours.
Yeah, let's just call it.
Thank you all. We'll see you next week or Saturday or for the call-in shows. I might have a ringer next time. Next Tuesday. My ringer works at Griffith, and so Saturdays are just off. My ringer works at Griffith on Saturdays.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
All right. I'm going to have the... no, we're not going to have a call-in show theme play us
No.
off, should we?
Sure. I love this song.
It's the Straight Epistemology
Not everyone.
call-in show. It's the Straight Epistemology call-in show. It's the Straight Epistemology call-in show. It's the Straight Epistemology call-in show. Straight Epistemology.